Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube? Diggy546. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like the video if you like the video. And I won't tell if you click that bell. But let's go ahead and get into this. Alright, so this is kind of my follow-up. I did that first video on Saquon Barkley where I talked about will he get his deal done. You know, we only had a couple more hours at that point. I think that was like the morning of that contract. So that didn't happen. He did not get his long-term deal, and it wasn't surprising to me. Joe Shane seemed pretty content on letting him play on that tag, and if they wanted to push that any further than where he wanted that tag to be at or that number to be at, that's what he was going to do. He was going to just go ahead and shut it down, and Saquon is going to play on the tag. Now, an interview from let me scoot over here. I'm getting cut off a little bit. An interview from Saquon has kind of gone viral. The actual video, the video doesn't really have that many views, and the people that did the video don't have many subscribers. And right now, I cannot remember the name of the channel, but I'm subscribed to them anyway. But anyway, they didn't get a bunch of views, but everybody is taking clips, and the clips have gone all over the place. So that kind of stinks for them. But Saquon Barkley pretty much was really candid. This was before his whole franchise tag thing, you know, before that deadline expired, and he was pretty open. I mean, he didn't really say anything crazy. The one clip that's going around is saying that, you know, he can say, you know, bleep you to the Giants. He can say bleep you to his teammates and just not play this year. And then they cut it off. But he really said that's not what he wants to do. So I'm not really worried about Saquon not playing this year, but I don't expect to see him until very late in training camp, or the week right before week 1. Or you may see something like Saquon, you know, not playing for the first 3 weeks of the season, or not playing for the first 2 weeks of the season, or just the first week, just to kind of just let it sting a little bit, you know, because the Cowboys, we have them week 1. Rivalry game. They're a good team. We're going to need to be playing really good football to beat the Cowboys week 1. And if Saquon's not there, it's going to hurt the Giants. Now, we got Earl Gray. Did I get his name right? Not Earl Gray, Eric Gray. I keep forgetting his name, but we got Eric Gray out there. We got Breida. We got Brightwell. I think that's solid depending on how good Eric Gray is. If he's a guy that has any sort of juice, I think we can make some stuff happen because I think the offensive line is going to be improved. But Saquon Barkley is the home run hitter, the big play guy that you just don't see in every offense. You just don't see a Saquon Barkley coming out in the 5th round or in the 4th round. Another thing that was interesting about Saquon Barkley's interview to me was that he said that they were using him like Christian McCaffrey in the preseason and in the in training camp. So 2 things either happened. You know, they told him to go down from 233 to 226. So 1 or 2 things happened. Either they saw that wasn't going to be able to be sustained. You know, the offensive line wasn't going to hold up, so he was not going to be able to run all those routes. Or they just looked at the contract and they just said, you know, we're not going to pay this guy $16 million, so we're not going to use him like C-Mac. Now, I cannot see Brian Dable doing that. I just can't see Brian Dable saying, like, I'm going to close a whole part of my playbook just so we don't have to pay Saquon. So I'm thinking what happened is they were thinking that the passing game was just not going to be as effective as they originally thought it was going to be. And then they just kind of went to just turning around and handing it off to him. So hopefully this year, and I'm thinking it's probably a 90% chance, 85% chance that Saquon plays this year, you know, at some point, obviously. Hopefully this year, Saquon goes out there and he's used as a receiver more often. And guys like Eric Gray, who also is a decent receiver, guys like Eric Gray and Breida, they get more carries. Saquon gets his carries, but also gets, you know, his screen passes, his passes deep down the field. Because if he can be that type of player, I mean, we're going to be, what, 6, 7, 8 receivers deep once you include Darren Waller. So I'm excited for that. But Saquon, this whole thing is going to blow over. It's not ideal. You know, the running back position has been completely devalued. I don't know how the tag has gone from 14 million to 10 million. I have no idea how. That's just like the contracts have gotten lower and lower and lower. And it seems like the way that the league is going is like they're not really going to value any of these running backs too much higher, even though the salary cap is going up. Again, as I mentioned in my last video, Bijan Robinson, the rookie, for this year is the highest paid running back in the NFL just because of where he got drafted, you know, like top 12. And he's the highest paid running back. So when Bijan Robinson gets to year 5 or year 6 of his deal and he's looking for a long-term deal, I mean, let's hope for his sake that he can get a contract that matches what he's making every year as a rookie. Like, just think about that, guys. Like, he might not get a contract that's making, you know, 12, 13 million a year because the running back position has just been that devalued. So for Saquon's sake, he still has that chance to go out there, have another great season, have another big season, a bigger season than this past year. You know, maybe win MVP or win Offensive Player of the Year, or something where it's just game changing, and they just have to sign him, or he's just going to walk in. Who knows? But even if the guy has a season like an MVP caliber season, the only way I can see the Giants signing him is for morale purposes for the rest of the team to just say, you win MVP, we pay you. But other than that, I can see the Giants tagging him again. And that's obviously not going to make Saquon very happy. He is not happy playing under this tag now. He admitted it. Everybody knows it. It is $10 million. You're not going to just say like, oh, I don't want that $10 million. Yeah, it is $10 million, which is a lot of money. But he's not happy. He wanted to get probably paid that $14, $15 million a year, which, I mean, you cannot really argue against him. You can't really argue against him if you say you feel like you're the best running back in the league. You've had injuries, so you're not going to ask for 17, which is more than C-Mac. You're not going to ask for 14, which Zeke, which was a bad deal. But, you know, maybe he asked for 13 and a half, and who knows? Who knows what he asked for? A lot of misinformation came out from probably both sides. But there's no doubt in my mind that we will see Saquon Barkley out there and at least in the first half of the season. I mean, I think there's like they can hold out 3 weeks before it becomes like they lose their entire deal with their entire $10 million for this year. So he may either decide to hold out for that maximum amount of time, which he misses a couple of games and shows like, you know, the Giants lost or whatever. Or he's just going to be back right before week 1. He's going to be ready to go. And obviously, for everyone's sake, I'm going to knock on wood. Obviously, we're all hoping that he's able to stay healthy and he's able to go through this season, you know, unscathed, and he can come back out next season and try to get himself a long-term deal from the Giants or try to get him a long-term deal from somewhere else, because depending on how McKinney plays this year, the Giants may have to tag him because that safety salary, those safety salaries are going up, and that's not really a premium position. So are they going to let McKinney walk, or are they going to have to pay McKinney, or are they going to tag him? Because if you tag McKinney, you cannot use that tag on Saquon Barkley. So you might have to let one of those two guys walk, because that's going to be a sticky situation next year. But that's just my quick update on what I think about the whole Saquon Barkley situation. It's upsetting, you know, to see he didn't get paid. It can't be the best for team morale, but at the same time, he's going to play. And at the same time, also, Eric Gray is going to get a ton of reps this offseason. Breida, Brightwood are going to get a ton of reps, so they're going to be ready. It's not going to be like this guy got injured, so all of a sudden Eric Gray is getting a bunch of reps. He's going to get all the reps this training camp, because I doubt we're going to see Saquon Barkley there, at least for most of it. So you guys let me know what you think of this whole situation. A lot of people on both sides, but let me know that in the comments. If you made it this deep into the video, come on, just hit the subscribe button. I make Giants content primarily, draft content secondarily, and during the season, I'm going to be doing a lot of reacting to pretty much most of the NFL games and everything NFL. So if you made it this deep, go ahead and join the D6 squad.